Hello and welcome back to a Cottage story. Now, we left off at a very dramatic time period. Things got very awkward with a man named Michael. Things kind of went a little flirtatious with him, and it was kind of immediately sudden, and things was kind of embarrassing for our character here. And then in doing so, a goblin, Klafka, came in and interrupted, which, to be honest, was probably for the best. Things got a little heated, and in doing so, Michael nearly died. He almost got his head chopped off, to be honest. But welcome back. So, here we are. Druga walks back into his cottage and makes a beeline for the broken lamp and overturned table. Klafka follows shortly after, shutting the door behind her. So it's her. Okay. I mean, we can't really tell by the model at the moment. I mean, not that I've seen a male equivalent then. Okay, cool. Goblin. He was the first human to stumble here in years. I can't believe that happened. You can't believe he fell in love with you. Well, I would say it's more of an attraction thing, but still. It reminds me of Florence Nightingale effect, but reversed. Klafka helps him move the table back into place and grabs for a dustpan and broom. Did you expect me to know what that is? Okay, that wasn't all in load draft. Okay, do you expect me to know what that is? And sorry about the lamp. I wasn't using it anyway. Florence Nightingale was a human who looked after soldiers during wars in England. It was said that he cared so deeply about her patients that she started falling in love with them. None of it is true, though. It only looked that way because of how closely she worked with them. That's so stupid. It must be a pain to deal with all the time. Only once in a while. Haven't you ever actually fallen in love with any of your patients? Of course not. That'd be awkward. Once the lamp shards have been cleaned up, the living room finally starts to regain some of the formal glory, and not like someone just started a knife fight in there. This is par for the course when it comes to Klafka. Druga has known her ever since they were young. Although more level-headed than most goblins, Klafka has always stuck her neck out for Druga, and he would do the same. But Klafka had a tendency of jumping to conclusions at the sight of an injury or peril. Okay, injustice or peril. Misread it, sorry. She's the next closest person in Druga's life after his godmother, that's Katrana, passed away. Okay. Klafka moves a little stool over so that she can reach the counter and pull out the dried hemlock from earlier. Where's the mortar? The hemlock's not gonna crush itself. It's right in front of you, next to the fairy beds. Klafka briefly searches the counter before spotting the mortar, next to all the miniature furniture. There's too many lights in your den. It makes everything hard to see. Be fair, goblins seen in the dark. Well, this isn't a goblin hole. Druga makes a mental note to himself to dim the lights for Klafka whenever she's over. The cottage has always been like a second home to Klafka, despite the two having a tendency to butt heads. Druga sighs. What a day. Rosenward Forest, hidden away from the eyes of humans in modern society, lives an integrated community of creatures only uttered in folklore. in fairy tale. Only a handful of people know of their strange existence, much less interact with them. But once upon a time, a human named Katron Leland took residence in Rosen Ward. She built a small cottage by hand, where she resided for the rest of her days. Her cottage was much a part of the magical entity making up Rosenward as the creatures, and she would be frequently visited by them. At first, they toyed with her, stealing firewood and flowers from her garden, but they soon found that the woman had other talents. Katrana was a gifted apothecary who worked with fauna and flora. A possible explanation for her departure from the human world. She helped those around her without discrimination and earned the respect of even the mysterious creatures. One day she found a baby floating along the river brook, battered but miraculously alive. When she rescued the baby, it spoke to her perfectly in the common tongue, enunciating its words like an adult, but with the squealing voice of an infant. Impressed, she took the baby and raised them as one of her own. Days turned to years. The child became apprenticed to Kaltrana. They learned and mimicked everything that she taught them. Even after Kaltrana's passing, the cottage remained maintained by her one and only apprentice. His name is Druga. The foxglove should quell your heart. Let's see, that's palpitations, okay, and other heart-related problems. However, the Valerian root are purely supplemental. If you steep them in hot water, it makes for soothing tea. I would recommend you avoid alcohol. It'll only worsen your heart problems. Thank you, Druga. I damn near thought I'd die this morning, but this puts me at ease. The elderly gnome slurs his words as he's missing about half his teeth, but the sentiment holds. He hands Druga a sack that he prepared in exchange. Druga peeks aside out of curiosity. These mushrooms look delicious. I'm sure they'll go great with stew. My pleasure. They're the biggest I could get my hands on. Another happy client marks the end of morning. Most of the creatures living in Rosenward operated early in the day, which were the apothecary's busiest hours. Take a little drink. Now that Druga has some downtime, he begins cleaning. He begins cleaning up around the house. He picks up a large laundry rack and walks it through the back door. The night before, it started pouring all of a sudden and drenched all of Druga's fresh laundry. Now it's sunny, as a summer day without a single cloud in the sky. That's spring for you. After returning to the living room, Druga dusts all the cabinets and tables with a feather duster. Clean all the dirty dishes left from breakfast, and then reorganize the medicine cabinet. This was routine. Even when Katrana was alive, this was only a few of Druga's duties, but he never once found it tiring. In fact, Druga felt lost without the set schedule. My throat keeps getting scratched for some reason. Interesting. Yeah. So, well, workaholic. Got it. As he checked each labeled jar, and can he notices that he's low on feverfew. Okay. One of his regulars always comes in for feverfew, since they suffer from chronic migraines. So it's not an option for him to be low on this medicine. Juga would have to go on a quick foraging trip. Fortunately, feverfew are perennial, meaning they grow year-round. Juga finds it hard to imagine what chronic migraines might feel like without reprieve. I understand what that's like because I get migraines a lot. So it's painful. A headache's one thing, a migraine's another. A migraine can kill people. If it gets bad enough, it has killed people. It has sent people to the hospital for months at a time just to be able to potentially get relief. Yeah, it's a lot. So, I understand. I once had a migraine for an entire week straight. I believe I mentioned that when it happened. Like, afterwards, I actually had videos uploaded and whatnot, streams, I believe, maybe. And I mentioned a bit about how I had a migraine that lasted a week long, so that wasn't fun. Every time it started to go away, it got worse. So, yeah, I get it. The regular described it as a jackhammer to the head for 4 hours on end. One time, Juga accidentally hammered his thumb trying to build a cabinet, and the pain was already unbearable. It's not always a jackhammer to the head. Sometimes it feels like somebody's taking an ice pick and shoving it through your eye. Now, for those who have migraines, they understand. It is not always the same for every person, but usually for me it builds up behind the eyes, and God, it's agony. So yeah, he should be glad. Growing up, he was always reminded of his good health, and the only treatment he would see was for small injuries and bruises. That's good. Let's see. Feverfew grew just east of the cottage. The trees are scattered more sparsely, so the meadows see more sun. Wildflowers grow in every nook and cranny, but Druga realizes he's not alone. A familiar mushroom-topped goblin is bent over a small patch that's been picked clean. Klafka. Hey, what's up, Druga? What are you doing here? I noticed that you were low on feverfew, so I thought I'd pick some for you. Picked is putting it lightly. It looks like Klafka unearthed the entire ground, exposing the naked earth. How did she do that with her bare hands? Klafka herself looks as though she transformed into a plant holder. Her coat is filled to the brim with flowers, and all the stems and leaves are poking out. That's thoughtful of you. That's thoughtful of you to do this for me. Klafka, I think there's a chamomile. What do you mean? Chamomiles look similar to feverfew. If you look at the stem, they're too thin. It's all bent and bruised. Usually feverfew is tougher than this. Shit. We can put these back, right? That's not how plants work. It's okay. I won't let them go to waste. With this much chamomile, I should be stocked for months. Then let me help you prepare it. Don't even think about trying to do all the work. I know how you are. I remember when Katrana taught us how to tell them apart. She'd always say, if it's firm and tough, it's feverfew, but cut short and cute, it's chamomile. Yeah, and then she let us eat some of the chamomile when we found it. I always saw her having it with her salad, but it doesn't taste very good. It's much better as tea. I wish I paid more attention back then. I was just in it for the free food, but I never thought that she would pass so suddenly. Well, it kind of happens when you get old. It just happens. Me too. I really miss her. I miss her too. I'm glad that you're always helping me out, Klafka. It's less lonely this way. Yeah, then I guess I'll keep at it. The two searched different parts of the meadow. Klafka had insisted that she needed to be able to find the feverfew without Druga's help, so she left him to his own devices. Going to... Yes. To save just in case. Never know when we have to rewrite one. But we're going to return here, and I'm going to leave the episode here. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, wish to. Let me know if any game you'd like to see me play, and I hope to see you in another video.